Hey guys, Kinoflex here, back with another review. Recently, Snoop Dogg came under fire for complaining about how when watching Lightyear, his grandson started asking him questions about sex when a lesbian couple with a baby showed up in the film.
I took my grandson to see what was the movie with Buzz Light?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
Oh, the new Buzz. The Lightyear. I think it's
yeah,
called
with
Lightyear.
Kiki Palmer's in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit. I didn't come in for this shit. I just came to watch the goddamn movie. Hey, man, watch the movie. They just said she had a baby. They both women's. How did she have a baby? Shh. The movie ain't over with. So it's like, it fucked me. I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of shit that I don't have an answer for.
I decided to watch the movie again because of that, because this movie was practically ground zero for Disney backpedaling on culture war nonsense, as after this they started toning down their pushing of gay storylines, and it was as bad as I remembered. To start off, I take issue with the entire aesthetic the film is going for. Buzz Lightyear is meant to be a tribute to Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers styled adventure sci-fi, something that was captured well with the 90s movie and show. So to see them follow the tropes of an entirely different tone simply for the sake of being different is pretty stupid. What's even more stupid is how the film blatantly steals plot points from other movies such as Interstellar, the Lego Movie 2, and even the original Buzz Lightyear movie, but can't even execute any of those plot points well. It also has that MCU style of humor where all dramatic tension is sucked out of a scene because one of the characters has to constantly make lame quips even when something serious happens. The worst offender being a joke where the punchline is that people in the future don't know how to make a sandwich. Yes, that is an actual joke in the movie. The film starts off with Buzz and his friend Hawthorne, who are part of a Star Command ship tasked with exploring planets, only to find themselves stranded on one with hostile alien life. The film has this bad habit of telling you what to think despite showing you something that runs counter to what it wants you to take away from it. Buzz is framed as kind of a jerk throughout the film because he cares about doing his job correctly to the point where he has to tell the incompetent people around him to fuck off because they're constantly getting in his way. And this supposedly leads to him failing by getting everyone stranded on the hostile planet. Except he didn't fail at all because he didn't really have a choice in that situation and saved everyone from getting killed. He even warned about the planet being hostile, but nobody listened to him, which directly led to them getting stranded. So why exactly should Buzz be the one feeling guilty here when he was entirely correct in his handling of the situation? The film, of course, never gives a sufficient answer to this, despite it being Buzz's biggest character motivation. After getting stranded, Buzz and the other colonists make do with what they have to start building a base, along with a ship fueled by a hyperspace time crystal to help them get back home. Buzz volunteers to be the test pilot, but finds that after his first test flight, which lasted 4 minutes for him, lasted 4 years for the alien planet because of time dilation, which causes his friends like Hawthorne to get gradually older. And Buzz decides to keep doing this only to accomplish nothing every time. And the fact that he keeps on doing these pointless flights for no real reason really impacts the story because it makes the emotional gut punch of Hawthorne dying fall flat. What made the emotional gut punch in Interstellar work is that Matthew McConaughey's character had to make an actual sacrifice that required him to be away from his child for the good of humanity. While here, Buzz can just stop whenever he wants, but just actively chooses to waste time instead of doing something more productive. Nothing makes sense, and the movie just throws random plot points at you to sloppily move the story along to get the characters from point A to B. People tend to praise the beginning as the most enjoyable part of the movie, but I don't really see why because it's completely boring. This is supposed to be a movie about a space ranger going on exciting missions, fighting bad guys, and meeting new exotic dangerous alien civilizations. But for most of the film, Buzz is grounded to one setting where hardly any action is going on. After Hawthorne dies, Buzz meets the new commander who orders him to stop trying to get back home because he decided to just stay on this alien planet forever. When I first heard this, I thought this guy would be the villain because he's quite literally a military despot, but no. The film just glosses over this completely as if giving up on making contact with the rest of humanity is at all a good idea. Buzz runs away with his pet robot cat Socks and travels once again further into the future, this time being 22 years, where he finds that the colony is under siege by Zurg and his robots. So he decides to stop him with the help of some cadets that include Hawthorne's granddaughter Izzy, who are all unbearably awful. An undeniable reason this film flopped hard was because it was incredibly tone-deaf with the political commentary in its story. For instance, the cadets are supposed to serve as an arc for Buzz learning to accept things like diversity and inclusivity, but it's completely counterproductive to the message that they are trying to push, because all the bumbling idiots you're supposed to root for who aren't Buzz are drooling morons that are a burden for the one white guy on the team, especially Taika Waititi's character, which creates an unintentional white savior narrative as Buzz is the one who has to constantly save them. Eventually, Buzz gets captured by Zurg, who reveals that he's actually him from the future who, instead of going further in time, has found out how to go backwards in time and is now attempting to go back to the day the Star Command ship became stranded on the alien planet to prevent them from getting stranded in the first place. How did he get access to this ship he's using? Who the fuck knows? Why do the robots have a Zurg emblem on their chest if Zurg doesn't exist? Once again, who the fuck knows? The political commentary with Zurg, or Old Evil Buzz, is supposed to be a caricature of an old white conservative stuck in the past and refusing to let society be run by a newer, more diverse generation. He even lectures young Buzz that his head is being filled with new ideas. Get it? Because if you're old and right-wing, you just automatically hate anything new for no reason. But once again, the film just completely fails in trying to make you care, because I didn't really understand how Zurg was a bad guy. The plan from the beginning of the movie was to find a way to get everyone stranded on the planet back home, which is exactly what he's doing by preventing them from getting stranded in the first place. And the best argument Buzz can come up with for why future Buzz is wrong for doing this is because he wants to preserve his friend's lesbian relationship at the expense of everyone else. How does saving people from being stranded actively keep someone from getting married to someone they love? Why can't Buzz save everyone and still have the lesbians fall in love? Despite what some people will say, the lesbian relationship isn't some small detail that you can just disregard, because the film itself centers around this entire relationship and wants you to obsess over it to the point that you can't even reverse a tragedy from occurring to maintain it. Which doesn't even make sense because they can still be a lesbian couple on Earth, and everyone who is already born on the planet like the granddaughter can still be born on Earth as well. It's so narcissistic and obnoxious that I doubt even actual lesbians think this is either an appropriate trade-off or good representation. Because no matter how you present it, choosing not to reverse a tragedy just to preserve the happiness of your friend is ridiculous. In Back to the Future, nobody would say that Marty erased the lives of 5 billion people by traveling to the past by changing the timeline. His parents from his original timeline don't exist anymore, but the movie never acknowledges them as being different people entirely. It would be the same case with the Star Command ship not getting stranded with an objectively better outcome. It's completely selfish for Buzz to oppose his future self with the reasoning he gives, and just makes him look stupid. It's also way more egregious than having a quick kiss, and is why trying to mix morals and time travel together tend to fall apart. Then the film just predictably ends with Buzz beating Zurg, all of the diverse cadets getting a promotion despite showing all throughout the film that they aren't qualified to be space rangers, and even have the nerve to sequel bait as if they put in the work to even make you care about anything that happened in this film. Fuck off. But even though the film is complete dog shit, people still found a way to make a conversation out of it 3 years later after its release to bitch about Snoop Dogg. Adam of Your Movie Sucks in particular was really mad at him for some bizarre reason.
Recently Snoop God talked about how he's scared to go to the movies.
What annoys me about Adam is that even though he is great at breaking down films for his reviews, all of that intelligence just goes away when he engages in culture war nonsense because he just acts completely immature. For instance, he makes some weird accusation that the same people who are complaining about Disney pushing gay content in their projects were born a few decades ago, then they would also hate interracial relationships, based on absolutely nothing.
Now, Snoop Dogg, he's a rapper in his 50s, right? And he's talking about taking his grandson to this movie just so his grandson can watch something for family, something for kids. He didn't have to think about just taking a Lightyear. And then he ended up in this weird situation where the propaganda that was shoved down their throats.
Weird situation. I mean, it's weird if you make it weird. If we go back, how many years do we have to go back where this same conversation was happening about interracial couples, right? You could be making like what this looks like an interracial couple. Why do we why aren't we talking about that aspect actually? Like literally, why aren't you talking about the fact that it's an interracial couple? Why only the same sex? But if you go back like some number of decades, right? Like this exact same guy, and everybody that's identical to him, all of his NPCs, right? All of his copy pastes. They existed then too, right? They they were just talking about the interracial shit. I fail to see the difference, honestly.
And I'm sure if you were born in Nazi Germany, you'd be a Nazi telling the Gestapo that Jews are hiding in attics. This is just stupid whataboutism that doesn't engage with the point being made. I also don't understand what his point is with interracial relationships, because yes, there can be depictions of interracial relationships that are not suitable for kids. For instance, the film Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, a story about embracing interracial relationships, is not something recommended for very young children in the same way Lightyear is. Another thing worth mentioning is that sexuality and race are two distinct things. You have to be attracted to the opposite sex to be considered gay, but in most depictions of interracial relationships, the races of the couple being different is never presented as the primary reason for their mutual attraction or reason for them being together. Because if someone likes another person simply for their race, then they're fetishizing them, which is definitely not something suitable to present to kids. The issues aren't the relationships themselves, but objectionable normative statements or ideas that use the relationships as a vehicle to have them expressed like what was done in Lightyear. What Adam doesn't understand is that people have constantly debated over what content is suitable for children for decades. One of the most famous examples being the Indiana Jones franchise, which is what saw the creation of the PG-13 rating for its violence. So of course we're going to debate on what depictions of gay characters are suitable or not for kids. If the whole controversy with Snoop Dogg instead was him complaining about kids' movies being too violent to the point that it gave his grandson nightmares with no label to alert him, neither Adam or anyone else would even care.
How old is your child? Because if they don't understand two women can have a baby, they probably don't understand how a man and a woman can have a baby, right? Are you going to explain that to them? Did you explain that to them? Did you tell your child that there's no way to have a child? There's no way for babies to exist unless it's exclusively through, like, straight sex, and that's it?
This is an aspect I see overlooked for this whole controversy, but Snoop Dogg's grandkid is the one who made a big deal about the lesbians and asked Snoop Dogg to explain. But the problem here is that Snoop Dogg is the grandfather, not the father. It is not his responsibility, but the responsibility of the child's parents to have that conversation with him. If Snoop Dogg blabbed to his grandson over something that wasn't his business to talk about, it would be a violation of the trust he has with his grandson's parents and cause a potential rift between them because he is teaching him things without their informed consent. This results in him being scared, not in the sense of a crazy murderer chasing after him, but scared in the sense of being wary or apprehensive of unintentionally teaching his grandchild things he's not supposed to.
This is a rapper. He's very hard. He's a gangster. He's afraid of movies, but he's a gangster.
I get the irony of a gangsta rapper being offended over this sort of stuff, but his albums come with a sticker on the front warning people of the explicit material in it. This is the exact problem parents have with Disney, as the company has been obsessed with trying to sneakily put adult themes in their projects marketed for kids without being upfront about it, which is an absolutely stupid business strategy because now parents are incentivized to pre-screen movies and shows to ensure there isn't something stupid for their kids to latch onto, since they're impressionable.
You don't want to explain it specifically because it's gay people and you're scared of your grandson being gay because that's biologically attached to you, and even if there's someone with the same similar DNA to you that's gay, you'd be like, ew, that means I'm part gay. Ew.
Adam can act offended all he wants, but it's not at all unreasonable to have the expectation to be able to take your child to a movie without being worried to explain something they're unprepared to talk about, or feel their child is too young to understand. This is why the solution to this problem should be to just have gay themes be a warning on movie ratings, so parents can opt out of having their young children watch it the same way we have violence, drugs, alcohol, and suggested themes included.
Are you trying to tell me you're gay or something?
Gay, straight, retarded, why do we have to put labels on everything?
Because we do alright, or else no one's going to know what the fuck's going on.
Censoring depictions of people who are gay is a pointless endeavor unless the practice of being gay is going to be outlawed, which isn't going to happen, at least not in the United States. That being said, you can still at the very least alert parents of what content a given film is going to have in it before seeing it, if they feel that it's too inappropriate. Alcohol and various types of drugs also aren't going to be outlawed, but that doesn't make on-screen depictions encouraging kids to partake in them ethical by any means. I can't think of any reason why anyone would oppose this besides being disgruntled over not being able to push things under parents' noses anymore, To which I say good, because that's fucking creepy. Sure, parents are going to end up having these conversations with their kids somewhere down the line, but why should Disney be the ones to initiate that conversation on their terms and not the parents? But those are just my thoughts. And if you have any of your own, then feel free to flex them off in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.